Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good day wherever you're at. Tonight on the live stream, or today we're on the live stream, we're going to talk about information, your information. And it's how it's a new high dollar currency for the elite. Those people don't care about money no more. They realize money's worthless. And now it's our information is their currency. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Um, I put out a short. We got the winter wheats coming up. I tell you what, it's looking good. We got a lot of rain in September, and usually you try to get winter wheat around Nebraska in after Labor Day. Not too much into October if possible, but we had a wet September, and the guys got it in the ground. It's looking good, considering they didn't get much of a crop this last year because it was so dry. But anyway, one of the biggest gamblers in the world is a farmer or a rancher. Okay, if your business is going good, your pile of chips is piling up in front of you, and when the dealer takes it from you, it's just like you're dealing with Mother Nature, and it's tricky. But I tell you what, the genetics they got on some of this crops is incredible. Okay, the dryland corn here that we got in Nebraska this year is incredible. So, but anyway, I gotta waste a little bit of time for people to show up. YouTube not big on letting my channel get out and stuff. That's okay. It's not gonna shut me up. Maybe one day they'll sit there and take the ball and chain off my leg and let me spread my wings and soar on social media. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? If we even get that far. The world's kind of getting to be a hot place. The thing is, I want to know is if they get us to go under digital ID and digital currency and they have all this control over us, what's the end game? Anybody ever thought about that? What's the end game when they finally get all the control they want over us? I don't know. I know I'm not going to be part of it. I'm going to sit there and fight it as much as I can. But anyway, let's get into this subject. Got a few people showing up. Your information, the new high dollar currency for the elites. And what I mean by that is all fiat currency is worthless, okay? Gold's over $4,000 an ounce now. Crazy time. Silver's going to not go as high because I say it's an industrial metal, so that's got to be kept down a little bit. But, these people, I mean, you go into a place, right, and you go to check out somewhere, right, and the first thing they want is more information from you. Your telephone number, indiscreetly and stuff. Hello, Tom. How are you? I'm doing good, Philip. I'm doing great. But you go into these stores, and I remember Cabela started this back in the 20-teens. And you'd go there, and they'd ask you for your phone number when you're checking out the line. I got, what the hell you need that for? But now it's just these companies get our information, and they sell it. I mean, it gives them more control over us. I mean, the government's building all these big buildings to store all this information on us. I mean, doesn't it basically feel like with everything you do, especially you live in a city, you're always being spied on, that every one of us got a private investigator tailing us at all times. Writing down every little bit of information and then feeding it into the computer or giving it to the people that want to see it, probably feeding into the matrix, AI. This is all going to be crazy. But they figured out, if you can have dollar bills in your wallet, you got control of your life. When they go to digital currency, it's going to be bad. But that's going to be real bad. But then you add digital ID into it. I listened to this gal over in Europe, the Europe report she does. And I don't know where she lives in Europe. But, they're pushing that digital ID there. It's just supposed to be voluntary, remember? Just like our Social Security started out. It's just voluntary until it's just mandatory. But now she can't get into her tax account or whatever. I don't know, they pay taxes over there. But she must have like a little business or whatever. And unless she gets that digital ID. And then in Vietnam, I heard that they 86 million accounts were suspended until these people will go to digital ID. Okay, some people understand tyranny. Some people understand that, hey, I don't want a spy following me around everywhere. And that's what's happening in today's world. And they're using this information. You throw AI into it, and they sit there and can put that information into the computer. And then, on like our live chats here and stuff, I don't have much of a live chat anymore, but I used to get thousands of comments an hour. But YouTube didn't like that, so they made sure they shut me down as best as they could. That's another thing. They can control information. They want to know all information about you. But an opinion isn't going to matter anymore either. It's just, could you imagine, you would never give your phone to a stranger in the street. Open it up for them and say, hey, check this out. Would you? You would never do that. Okay? Ever. For one thing, this person could be nuts. You don't know that. Anyway, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and bell notification. Help this channel out grow, because we need to get the word out there. But anyway, so why would you allow the government to have all this information? Do you know when the government who's reading it? Do you want somebody like, well, if you're on the right, like Nancy Pelosi reading it? Or if you were on the left, somebody you don't agree with on the left? I mean, who volunteers this type of information? But see, we don't have a choice anymore. We've been so programmed to answer every question about our personal lives. And I guess all this government paperwork we had to fill out for years and stuff, they weren't getting enough information. And now cell phones, it started with tracking everybody where they're going. And then everything you put into your phone will be used against you one day in a court of law. It all depends on what democracy we have running the country at the time, whether it be the Republican or the Democrat. But information, like that line in the Hunger Games, the second one, when they're getting on the chariots before they go out to the arena, and that one main character, that muscle guy and stuff, Anyway, and he was talking about stuff more valuable than money. He's talking about information. Information can sit there. Well, look at the hoax list that doesn't exist. And the people pulling the strings on the puppets because they got information on. And just, we're not even talking about bad stuff. Your normal routine. They want to know everything about you. They want to get it. So after I get done mowing the lawn and I get on my phone, boom, right away, there's an ad for something I want. I mean, they want us walking around like programmed machines that go out and make money so we can give it to them. And they know exactly how we're going to spend it. Do you want anybody human beings are creatures of habit. But do you want anybody knowing all your habits when you do them? Jeepers Christ, just imagine, okay, we're not going to call the government a crooked agency or crooks, right? Just imagine if some bad guys got a hold of that information. You got a family with kids and stuff. A bad guy gets hold of that information. Because we know our government would never, ever have bad people running it. Like I say, all this information we're giving to strangers that we don't even know. And I mean, when we were growing up, it was a big joke. Oh my God, the FBI putting a bug in somebody's house illegally. And I mean, you just didn't do that. I was spying on Americans. And now it's, I mean, you carry it with you every day. I mean, do you know, this is why I don't understand why they can't solve crimes, okay? If you got a criminal's phone, somebody who did a crime, let's say it's drug trafficking, right? And you get their phone. How can you not know all the contacts on down the line? I mean, they'll sit there and go on a Patriots contacts and go, okay, this is who he talks to, and this is who those people talk to, and that's who those people talk to 3 or 4, degrees down the road. So they can't find this stuff out about criminals? Just like when you get all these spam calls and this retarded, I love when I get these messages about how my PayPal or Apple account or whatever they all are, I don't even have none of them, right? How it's been a fraudulent pay, or somebody bought it on the account fraudulently. I don't even click on them. I just delete them because I don't even have a PayPal or an Apple or none of that stupid account. I got one simple bank account. Okay, I don't even know what it's. I live so simple you can't even rip me off. See, the more complicated they make stuff, the more machines get control. But anyway, when these people are doing this, right, the government can't see who's doing this, right? The FBI, there's no way we can find out who's doing it. All you got to do is trace the phone number and see who's paying for the phone number, shouldn't you? But on your phone, your whole life is there. Now, me personally, I don't ever download anything. I don't put my bank card in there or nothing like that. Screw that. But, a lot of people, everything's on there. And then you sit there and want to do something and they want to have access to your whole phone just to do something. Crazy time. How about I get full access to Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg's, all the content on their computer and phone? Wouldn't that be great if the shoe was on the other foot once? Good evening, Tom from Boston. Hey, how you doing, Audrey? Good to see you here. I heard Boston's having a little problems in the streets there. It's getting a little dangerous. You people that live in a big city, you can't have closed minds no more. You need to see the writing on the wall. Your place is about to become a war zone. And I thought, Audrey, you were going to sit there and get out of that place. Just, it's not like you can't go back after the dust settles, but don't want to be there when it gets rose up. I mean, we're headed for civil war. Insurrection Act. Yep. I did a video on this last night. Yeah, according to the Insurrection Act, the way it's written, Trump has all the authority he needs to enact it. And it's just like he's trying to make things worse by threatening it and not doing it. They're waiting for something really bad to happen. But compared to the summer of love, this ain't shit, is it, people? This ain't shit. People were getting shot and killed. Women were getting raped. Businesses were getting looted, fiery but mostly peaceful protests. And Trump sat there and said, we'll let the states handle it themselves. But now all of a sudden, okay, but, they sure do want information on us. I am so sick and tired of having to answer questions. I won't even do it no more. I get into a business that gets too personal, I'll walk out. If I'm going in there to sit there and buy something and I got to answer 10 questions before to give them the money, they're not getting no money. And then they have are you in this rewards club? Anybody who signs up for a rewards club, well, when you get all this spam shit, you're inviting it onto your phone. They're sitting there just selling that information. I don't know why they need to know all this information on us if we're just going to go buy something. That's why I pay cash for everything. And I'm sure one day that'll all end too. I won't be able to pay cash. And then I guess I'll be out in the woods living in my dugout with my horses and my dog. because I refuse to submit to digital currency. I refuse to submit to digital ID. If I got to go become a hermit out in the woods, I have the skills to survive. And if something bad happens, well, I guess you just make your peace with God. Because nobody lives forever. But I'm sure not going to live in the hell they're trying to create. And then, like you say, you try to fight, there's going to come a point where you're going to have to cave. Once they get 50% to cave, the other 50% don't stand a chance. It's a game of numbers. Look at the pandemic was a little different. I'm a pureblood. I'm sorry. I got enough vaccines when I was in the Marine Corps. I'm not going to line up for anyone's that, they're going to pay me $100 to take. Are you nuts? Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. If you like the content, please hit that thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Help this channel grow, because that's another thing that we are, they going to want information on us, but we're not going to be allowed to share information with each other. Through all these, like Iran, every time they'd have problems, and they'd shut down social media and stuff. You don't think that our government wasn't learning from that, how to do it and stuff? Silence people. If we can't, if I cannot speak, am not allowed to speak, especially to a person that disagrees with me, we're never going to solve our problems. Ever. If I sit there and talk in an echo chamber where everybody agrees with me, well, you ain't getting no good dialogue or debate there. But, this is why they don't want us communicating. They want us fighting. To communicate, you got to sit there and sit down casually in a good frame of mind and accepting of what the other person has to say, create a dialogue and debate. Well, now what do they got us? Screaming at each other. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How are you supposed to get over your problems like that? Anyway, this is one reason why on social media, why they're clamping down on all of them. And I realize that left-leaning content creators are dealing with shadow banning and stuff just like we are. Us conservatives are. Well, really? We've dealt with it longer, but now do you see that it's wings of the same bird, everybody? And the elite will protect the other elites? They're all in the same messed up game together. They're all crooked. They're the elites. They want to control everything. Well, we got a First Amendment, yeah. But, like YouTube, social Rumble, stuff like that, that's the new town square. They got a responsibility to society. In the town square, back in the olden days, people gathered in the town, and politicians made speeches, right? No matter what side they're on, people listened. Okay? Nowadays, you got the town square, and you got the conservative side. There used to be the conservative booth and the Democratic booth, except the conservative booth was a soundproof booth that nobody could hear what you were saying. Now, do you Democrats understand where, you sit there and want to do stupid shit, it can be used against you? Just like all this stuff Trump's doing with the troops and in this, what do you think the Democrats, who do you think the Democrats are going to label terrorist groups? And how long do you think it's going to have for them to have troops in, I don't know, name a good conservative city. There's really no big conservative cities anymore that are good. Just like, when people start moving to the city, all of a sudden they see all these neighbors around. Oh, it must be my neighbor's responsibility to take care of me. You couldn't get me to live in one of those concrete zoos for nothing. Total different mindset than over flyover country. By the way, all this information they're collecting on us. and they're just sharing it. You know, the elites are sharing it. How they can make more money off of us. How they can like they say, don't you think when they can know what we're going to be thinking next, and the first thing you do is flip up, and that's what you want? Don't you think they've done all figured out how to make money off of us? Doesn't everybody feel like your only job is to sit there, work, get a check in this, cash in this hand, you move it to this hand and pass it on down the road? That's why I am in a position where I don't have to work a couple days a month. My time is more important to me. I'd rather, you get punished if you're too successful today. And I'm not going to work all those hours like I did before to pay all those a lot of taxes. What a load of bullshit, okay? Hold on, your live stream is about to have an ad break. Be back in 30 seconds. They're having my breaks on here? That's one thing about YouTube too. Commercials on live streams. I mean, I watch this one live stream, and for the first 20 minutes, they have a commercial break every 3 minutes. I mean, YouTube, why don't you go back to... Anyway, the thing, I ain't getting no money off of it. They won't even... They'll throw commercials on my channel, but they're not going to help it grow. I already got enough subscribers to get monetized. Now it's the hours watched, and believe me, I used to get 200 hours a day. Now I'm lucky if I get 200 hours in 2 weeks. But I'm sure the algorithm and the computer control has nothing to do with it, right? They want to gather information on us, and they want to silence us from sharing information with each other. Oh, it's going to, people will learn to be sneaky again. But all this government control, it's crazy. I'm supposed to, like I say, I'm sick of going through the register at Dollar General and having to push cancel on. Insert your number. How many people sit there and do that not thinking twice about it? They're creating more infrastructure to gather information from us. They already got the money set up, but they're trying to really conquer how to get all the information out of. I mean, you live in a smart house, right? They sit there and can every outlet, how much energy it uses. Everything in your kitchen's listening to you. Your lamps are listening to you and spying on you. Your TV and stuff. Anybody ever see The Truman Show? That's what we're all going to be in one day. And then the thing is, we don't know the people that's getting this information. Do you know who they are? No. Anybody who would want this type of information, who would sit there and before putting microphones and cameras all over your house, I think they're already, probably a little criminal and evil to begin with. One thing when I was in the Marine Corps, I had to know more than I wanted to know. And now as a civilian, I don't want to know nothing about nobody. And I don't want nobody to know nothing about me. Okay, but like I say, that doesn't mean that I don't want to know nothing about nobody either. I'm not going to be the one that's going to hound you 1,000 questions about your life. I'm just not that way. And I'm not the one that, pays attention intently. Bewitched was a show, right? And you had the neighbor there that was always spying on Steven's house, I think was their last name, with the witch. And she was always spotting stuff that were strange. And her husband was saying she's crazy. But that's what we got now. A bunch of neighbors peeking out their window at each other. But our government's put a private eye on all of us, an electronic private eye. And they're gathering all this information that they got to build these big buildings to store all this information. Anyway, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Trying to get the channel to grow. You know, in today's world, like I say, when information is king, you definitely want to. Not like I sit here and give news here. There's lots of channels for that. I give opinion about stuff. You know, I want to sit there and solve this country's problems, not be like these politicians and preach to people and make them worse. Preach to them to hate each other. I mean, all I know is we have the military on the streets now, people. I would say our country is falling the F apart big time. What do you think it's going to take to turn it around? By just giving them more information about everybody so they can just completely control us? Anyway, information, remember, your information is gold to them now. Because frankly, if gold's going for $4,000 an ounce, $4,050, whatever, the dollar's lost, everything, all the fiat currencies are gone. So they need, the elite need more different type of currency that they can use. And the thing is, we're the printing presses that supply it to them. Anyway, I mean, all this information they can use. They're going to know who people's enemies are, right? So if they want something to happen to this person, they go to their enemies and start doing what government does best. Make people do what they don't want to do. Isn't that what government does? Eventually you'll give in. Eventually you will do what they want you to do. It never turns around and goes the other way. We're never going to turn this country around and start heading back to the way it was in 1789. That's not going to happen. So, anyway, do you want to turn the country around and give people health care and fair wages? Nobody should be given anything. You should earn everything. And if they would do it like they did back when I was a kid, where you went to the doctor and his office was downtown, not in the hospital. And then, when I got done, my mom would write the nurse a check and it was paid for. When we got to make sure that with healthcare, that we're also making the insurance company and the hospitals wealthy. See, you just got two people you got to keep happy. There was never a problem with it before. But you can't even operate a doctor's office like that. A cash operation. Okay? Fair wages, exactly. But see, this is another thing with fair wages. You know how prices are priced in a store? They are priced on how much the consumer can pay. Not how much it charged, what it costs to make it. It's what the consumer can pay for. Okay? How valuable the item is on the totem pole of survival, right? That's what they pay. And if people are making more money, prices in the store go up. And say, how do you know that, Tom? How can you put that to the test? Easy. Back when I was in the Marine Corps, we got a 3 to 4% raise every year, right? January 1st. When you went to the PX on January 2nd, what do you think happened? What do you think I noticed? Everything from toothpaste to clothes went up 3 or 4%. So did you make any more money? No. So that's where, and the most people never escape that. Okay, and then like I say, when the government can say, oh, we're going to give a tariff-free big check for $2,000 and they can get Americans to fall for it, that's all it takes to sit there and buy you so the government can keep doing illegal stuff is $2,000. I'm glad I'm a skillful person. I'm glad I'm a lone wolf who can take care of himself. Because the way I live now, that people laugh at, will be the way I live in the future, that everybody will envy me for. So, I'm not falling for this shit, Say, I was a Marine who traveled the world. I got my eyes opened up in my late teens and early 20s of what was really going on and how the world worked. And it's beyond stupid here, like I say. Now we got the military out in our streets. But don't worry, everything's better. Hey, you're only paying $3 for a gallon of gasoline. Really? I'm still paying $3. I'm lucky I live out here in flyover area. I go to a locker to buy my meat, right? Where it comes in on the hoof in the back, and it leaves the packages out the front. Not get in a truck and travel and get mixed with all this other shit. And I pay for top grade A Nebraska beef and Colorado beef. $5.38 for a pound of hamburger. Extra lean. What are you paying for that garbage in Walmart now? $8-9 for the shit they scrape off the knives at the end of the day. I mean, I go in there and spend $40 in meat. That's enough for me for a month. So, I like living here in flyover country. And you know what? I don't have to give them no information. No, we still live in the Leave It to Beaver land here. But the more it's creeping up with these big box stores, and, I just don't like, give me a reason you need the information besides you want it. And there's really no reason anybody needs, people need to be more protective of their privacy. Because the government's just taking advantage of every American will just answer every question the government asks them. What's your bank account numbers? How much you spend on shoes on your kids every month? Stupid stuff like that. I mean, people, why would they concern about that information? Because then they know when to put a shoe ad on your phone. You need to protect your information because it may protect your life one day. You don't want them to know your routine, but they do know that now. Like I say, they got an algorithm. You got a specific electronic file now. I guarantee you every American has an electronic file now. Through all their social media and, all the information they want to put on digital ID, your bank account, all this stuff. And now all they got to do is type a few numbers and they got what they need off of you. But that's why you need to sit there and protect a little bit of yourself. Anyway, we'll see when times get tough. But still, they can't seem to sit there and they can catch law-abiding citizens like that, no problem. Never have a problem with tracing down law-abiding citizens. Just like the January 6th protesters, right? Yeah, Trump, when are you going to arrest somebody? Ooh, Letitia James got indicted on 2 charges for mortgage fraud, I think. Really? Think anything's going to happen to these people? Anyway, I don't know what all these judges seem to be into real estate. Just like that broad on the Federal Reserve Board. Same thing, real estate. Anyway, yes, and all of those words you're saying are out of there forever. Yeah, everything you say. So when the Democrats take office again, and with all this stuff Trump's doing to give the president more power and the executive branch more power, yeah. So then it's time for me to disappear off the grid. Because I'll say one thing that Trump hasn't had, that Biden administration with his DOJ had. 6 a.m. no-knock raids that killed people. Trump hadn't started doing that yet. Okay. Sit there and do some flashbangs in the house. Homeowner comes out screaming because he thinks his house is under a war, and then he end up shooting him in the driveway. Anyway, but see, me personally, I'm supposed to worry about Iran and Russia and China, right, coming down my road. Now I'm more worried about illegals, crazy ass American citizens in the government. At least the crazy ass citizens don't have the information that our crazy ass government does on me. Anyway, on everybody. I mean, like I say, I can't even imagine living in a smart house where everything you do is captured on video or microphone. Everything. This is the Truman Show, people. And what is the end game for this? What is the end game when they have all the information on everybody that they could possibly want so they can predict their next step? What is the final goal of all this? Anybody know? What could be the possible goal? So we'll all march into the showers with no water? As you speak through a microphone that is recording what you are talking about. Yeah, but what's the end goal? What kind of control, I should say, are they trying to create over us? I mean, you got people out there that are flat out scared of the government, will not contradict the government, will not kick against the pricks at all, ever. They're petrified. They fear the government beyond belief. Hey, DC, how's it going? Appreciate you being here. I'm about to get off here. Actually, I've been on for a while, so you'll have to watch the reboot. But anyway, I'm talking about how all this information that they just peel from us. I mean, go to the store and buy something. They're trying to get information off of you. What they're using it for, the new currency for the high elite, okay? They'll be trading our information. Anyway, because a fiat currency is obviously not worth nothing at all. Hey, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Doing everything I can to get the channel to grow. Social media is being hard. All social media platforms are run by the bias of their owners, okay? And that's what not the First Amendment was about. So, but anyway, doing my part, everybody. Living out here, and leave it to Beaverland, flyover country. I can say, watch some of my other content. You might enjoy it. So, but keep your information close to you. Keep your privacy close to you. Because there's a lot of people out there that know more than they should. Like I say, when you can sit there and predict what somebody's going to buy and when they get in their car, what store they're going to go to, and you put an ad on for that store, I'm just saying. Then you go to digital currency and digital ID. Yep. Time for this mountain man. When that happens, I'm done with society. Okay, that's just too much control. I mean, maybe I understand it more because I was in the Marine Corps and everything was about control. You were property of the government, flat out. You needed permission to do everything. What I mean by permission, if you did something off duty on your free time, you needed permission. There were places you couldn't go. If you went so much of a distance, you needed paperwork. I mean, you went on leave, you needed paperwork. You needed to show permission in the military when I was in that you had the permission to be there, whether it be on leave, okay? And I'm not going to live that lifestyle again. I always said the pandemic was a soft boot camp that everybody went through that 2 years, 3 years. A soft boot camp to get people thinking like they get people to think in the military, to follow orders. The thing is, when you get out of the service and you realize the freedoms you didn't have and how free you were then. I mean, I remember when I was traveling down Interstate 90 and I realized I didn't need no orders, I was out. I was a civilian. The freedom I felt was incredible. Okay? especially after what I went through. I ain't giving that up for a tyrannical government. You're out of your mind. There's no way. And people that are in the service, you know what I'm talking about. When you were overseas and you came back to the United States, I remember the first time I came back on ship, and we pulled into Morehead City, North Carolina, and I seen America again for the first time after 6 months. And I have never had a feeling that was like that ever again. I can't describe it. It was not like you would say. It was just feel like coming home like that. It was tremendous. And, this government needs to stop. But anyway, the more information they got on you, the more control they have over you. Just like the cars now. Oh, you put this deal in your car so the insurance company can track how you drive, and we can give you a discount. They always use money to entice taking your privacy from you. Okay? Are you kidding me? That's why I drive a 1991 Ford 3/4 ton truck. Okay, no control whatsoever on it by any type of agency or computer or nothing. And when that dies, I'll go older. And if I can't find a vehicle eventually that doesn't have all this computerized control shit, I guess I'll be using a horse and buggy then. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I will not be controlled. Even if I got to live out in the middle of nowhere by myself, I will not be controlled and fall in for this shit. There's nothing they could give me for me to give up my freedom. There's no amount of worthless green piece of paper they could give me. I can't be tempted. My freedom, my liberty, my pursuit of happiness. Me being able to live free even if I got to live like an Indian, which I would enjoy living like. So, anyway, maybe one day it'll come. We'll see. But then they can't gather no information on me. Anyway, total privacy. I don't spend either. Yep. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. Nice to see you again, Audrey. But be careful there in Boston. Anybody else that's in a big city? Okay, I got just one thing. If they surround your car, hit the gas. Anybody stupid enough to stand in front of a speeding car is not smart enough to live. They're thinking you'll be stupid enough to stop so you could sit there and don't fall for it. Pedal to the metal, everybody. Sometimes that's the only way to fix stupid. I mean, these people would sit there and hold their hand on a hot stove and just let it fry as long as they thought they were pissing Trump off or somebody like me off. It's hard to deal with somebody like that. So make sure that, hit the gas. The thing is, all these people sitting in these streets, all it would take like 2 or 3 days of everyone just getting run over. Maybe only one day where nobody stopped you, so everybody just plowed them under. Do you think the next day you'd have to worry about that? Sometimes the only way to fix stupid is to slap stupid upside the head. You can't reason with it. You can't reason with people like that. Anyway, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Anything to help this channel grow. Because YouTube is shadow banning everything. Okay, like I say, YouTube's not about making money anymore. Money's worthless, people. To these rich people, the money is worthless to them. They can never spend everything they got. So now they need a new currency, and that's coming after us, our information, and silencing us so we can't speak to each other. Anyway. And who knows? I can't believe this channel. I've been on this channel for over a year now, almost a year, and I still haven't got a strike. But I tell you what, my lone wolf prepper that got buried, shot underneath the YouTube prison. Yeah. But now they just don't do that. They just don't promote it and stuff. I like to see these people that get, these shorts that get millions of views, right? That's because your short gets promoted, and you must have the right political background, whatever. And that's the other thing. Knowing my political background and actually go into my file somewhere on how I should be treated. If you get a social credit score, anyway, things are going to get crazy, everybody. Protect yourself and protect your privacy. Okay? Anyway, that's all I got for this evening. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow night. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.